Hello? Stop.
You frightened me.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing here?
Well, I just pulled up. I'm driving through the Courant.
What for?
Well, to see it, I suppose. It's terrible weather. But still, there are people drowning in Bangladesh, so I suppose we shouldn't complain.
Are there?
Are there?
People drowning in Bangladesh?
No, that's just an expression. That's something my mother says. But I suppose there are. Each one soon. But not at the moment, at least I hope not. It's beautiful here, though I've never seen anything like it.
I think it's the ugliest place in the world.
Did you grow up here?
Yes. You can walk along the beach for 5 days and not see anyone.
I know, it's amazing.
It's killing me. I want to see things. I want to meet people.
Well, you met me.
What's your name?
Gabriel.
It's not.
It is. What's yours?
Gabrielle.
What are the chances of that?
Do you want something? To eat, I mean.
What have you got?
Soup?
What sort of soup?
Fish? You don't like soup.
Well, the last time I had it, I threw up, so I
can do you a toasted sandwich if you like.
That'd be great. Tomato and cheese.
Do you want ham?
No.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian, so. What?
I'll get your sandwich.
Back then, I could sing it. For days and days. On and on. Every battle, every old digression, I would sing and sing. You know, every time I sing this song, I hope it's the last time. But, it's a good story. I remember a lot of it. This is the story of the Trojan War and two great fighters, Achilles and Hector. Now, imagine a city. Stone ramparts protecting it. And from the walls of this city, Troy, Hector can see the water down by the beach. And in the water, there are hundreds of ships. Now, at this point, it's been 9 years. 9 years. Do you see? Someone once said, how do you ask a person to be the last man to die for a losing cause? And I'm paraphrasing here, but the idea being you're in a supermarket line, and you've been there for 20 minutes, and the other line is moving faster. Well, do you switch lanes now? No, I've been here for 20 minutes. I don't care if I'm going to wait. Look, I'm not leaving, because otherwise I've wasted my time. You see? What was it like? It was pain. It was awful. It was hot. It was hot. How about that? It was. How can I?
Property of Perrier Lapetit.
I am Perrier Lapetit.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Monsieur Lapetit. I am Colonel Hans Lander of the SS.
How may I help you?
Oh, I was hoping you could invite me inside your home and we may have a discussion.
Colonel Landa, this is my family.
Monsieur Lapetit, the rumors I've heard in the village about your family are all true. Your wife is a beautiful woman, and each of your daughters is more lovely than the last.
Merci. Please, have a seat. Charlotte, would you be so kind as to bring Colonel Landa some wine?
Oh, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Lapetit, but no wine. This being a dairy farm, one would be safe in assuming you have milk.
Oui.
Ah, then milk is what I prefer.
Very well.
Bravo!
Merci.
Monsieur Lapetit, please, join me at your table. Oh, Monsieur Lapetit, what we have to discuss would be better discussed in quiet. You notice I left my men outdoors. If you wouldn't mind, could you ask your lovely ladies to step outside?
You are right.
Monsieur Lapetit, are you aware of the job I've been ordered to carry out in France?
Yes.
Please, tell me what you've heard.
The Führer has put you in charge of rounding up the Jews left in France who are either in hiding or passing for Gentiles.
The Führer couldn't have said it better himself. I just have a few questions, Monsieur Lapetit, and if you can assist me with answers, my department can close the file on your family. Now, according to these papers, all the Jewish families in this area have been accounted for except the Dreyfus. Now, somewhere in the last year, it would appear that they have vanished, which leads me to the conclusion that they've either made good their escape, or someone is very successfully hiding them. Now, what have you heard regarding the Dreyfus, Monsieur Lapetit?
I've heard only rumors.
Oh, I love rumors! Facts can be so misleading, but rumors, true or false, are often revealing. so, Monsieur Lapetit, please tell me what rumors have you heard regarding the Dreyfus?
Again, this is only a rumor. I have heard that Dreyfuses have made their way to Spain.
So, the rumors you've heard have been of escape. Well, I guess that should do it. However, before I go, could I have another glass of your delicious milk? But of course. Monsieur Lapetit, are you aware of the nickname the people of France have given me?
They call you the Jew hunter.
Oh, precisely. Now, the features that makes me such an effective hunter of the Jews, as opposed to most German soldiers, I can sing like a Jew. Now, if one were to determine what attribute the Germanish soldier shares with a beast, it would be the cunning and predatory instinct of a hawk. But if one were to determine the attribute that the Jew shares with a beast, it would be that of a rat. Now, I don't consider that an insult. Consider a German soldier conducts a search of a house suspected of hiding Jews. Now, where does the hawk look? He looks in the barn, he looks in the attic, he looks in the cellar, he looks everywhere he would hide. But there are many places it would never occur to a hawk to hide. Now, however, the reason the Führer brought me off my Alps in Austria and placed me in French cow country today is because it does occur to me. Now, Monsieur Lapetit, let me propose to you a question. In this time of war, what do you consider your number one duty? Is it to harass the occupying army in the name of France to the best of your ability? Or is it to protect those poor, unfortunate victims of warfare who cannot protect themselves? Or is it to those very beautiful women who constitute your family? That was the question, Monsieur Laville. In this time of war, what do you consider your number one duty?
To protect my family.
Now, my job dictates that I must have my men enter your home and conduct a thorough search, and if there are any irregularities to be found, rest assured they will be. That is, unless you have something to tell me that will make the conducting of a search unnecessary. You are sheltering enemies as a state, are you not?
Yes.
You're sheltering them beneath your floorboards, aren't you?
Yes.
Point out to me the areas where they are hiding. Monsieur Laville, I thank you for your hospitality. I do believe our business here is done. One day, my dad looked out at the endless desert and decided, then and there, to build a baseball field. He said people needed something to do in camp. We weren't in a camp that was fun, like summer camp. Ours was in the middle of nowhere, and we were behind a barbed wire fence. Soldiers with guns made sure we stayed there, and the man in the tower saw everything we did, no matter where we were. Now, one day, before camp,
a date which will live in infamy. United States of America, suddenly deliberately attacked.
Mom and Dad came to get me out of school. We had to move out of our house real fast, throwing away lots of our stuff. A bus came and took us to camp. This camp wasn't anything like home. It was so hot during the day and so cold at night. We lived with a lot of people in what were called barracks that were small and had no walls. Sometimes dust storms would come and get sand in everything. We would get caught waiting outside in line to eat or go to the bathroom. But that's when Dad decided we needed baseball. We got shovels and started digging up the sagebrush in a big empty space near our barracks. All the time we worked, the men in the tower watched. We funneled water from irrigation ditches to flood what would become our baseball field. Bats, balls, and gloves arrived in bought sacks from friends back home. My mom and other moms even took the covers off of mattresses to make uniforms. They look almost like the real thing. Then came one of the last games of the year to decide the championship. It was the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and the other team was winning 3-2. One of our guys was on second. I glanced up at the tower, and there was the man leaning on the railing, the blinding sun glinting off his sunglasses. He was always watching, always staring. It suddenly made me mad. I gripped the bat harder, and everyone got quiet as the pitcher threw. I stepped into my swing and pulled the bat around hard. Against the hot desert sun, I could see the little white ball high in the air against the blue sky and the puffy white clouds. It looked like it was going over the fence, but I didn't care, running as fast as I could towards home. Before I knew it, I was up in the air on the shoulders of my teammates. I glanced up at the tower, and there was the man, with a grin on his face, giving me the thumbs up sign. But it's not as if everything were fixed. Now is the winter of our discontent.
made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house, in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war has smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking-glass, I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature deformed, unfinished, sent before my time, into this breathing world scarce half made up, and are so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I haul by them, why I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun, and descant on mine own deformity. Therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures.
Leo? Leo, honey. You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. We were in Kansas. Western Kansas? Western Kansas is like ass flat, the cliche. So we're basically just riding the wind. If you pedal even a little bit, at 15 miles per hour, no problem. I mean, 15 miles per hour is a slow speed in a car, but on a bike it's pretty good. Pretty good. So we were approaching Gypsum, our small town America of choice. You know, one diner, one bar, 17 churches, or whatever. And it's morning, and the sun is pretty low, and between the low sun and a flat ride and a good wind, it is the perfect time to take shadow pictures. That's when you take a picture of your own shadow while you're riding. That's a staple of the cross-country bike trip. You gotta have the shadow pictures, and with our huge packs and panniers, we were gonna have especially dope shadow pictures. So, Micah thinks he's a really good photographer. He's doing a lot of bullshit with shutter speed and framing and what have you. And we hear this truck coming up behind us, or I hear it. I assume he does because we both up the shoulder a little bit, and the truck gets louder and closer and passes us. And I see it's a Tyson truck full of fucking crates of screaming chickens. And I scream out to Micah, who didn't mention this in front of me, look at all that fucking slave poultry. And he looks back at me, and he's smiling, and he has his left hand on the handlebar, and his right hand on his bullshit professional camera, and he's smiling, and he starts to say something, but the truck bed separates from the cab and flies backwards and takes him off the road. Before the ambulance came, this PR lady from Tyson came. She was like, I'm sorry, sir, but we have to confiscate your camera. I was like, my best friend is under 3,000 fucking chickens. Where is the ambulance? She was like, I'm sorry, sir, I understand you're upset, but this will be easier for both of us if you... And I threw my camera on the ground. So, what I don't have are these pictures of Wyoming. We took all these stupid, corny timer shots at the top of the Continental Divide in front of the sign that says the altitude, all that shit. There was still snow up there in June. And, and in Yellowstone, he caught this fish that was longer than his head and neck with his bare hands. He just stood really still and reached in. and I have this video of him pretending to fall off the rock, dipping his back tires. That's another corny thing you do because you're supposed to dip your back tires in the Pacific.
And then once you get there, your front tire's in the Atlantic, which I had not done yet, incidentally. But I have this video of him dipping his back tires and pretending to fall off the rock into the sea because he was a fucking clown. You know, he was a gifted physical comedian. He could have done that for real. Yeah. And then there's all these pictures of him that I don't remember taking. And I think losing those is worse than the ones I do. Took him 45 minutes to get him out. And the funny thing was he hadn't sustained any trauma to the head or anything, but he had been face down in the mud with hundreds of pounds of weight on him, and he had suffocated. So the part that everyone's pissed at me about is that after I went to the police station and filled out all the paperwork and called his mom, and my mom, I got back on my bike and I kept riding. So much for being here. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you to my class. I love you guys so much, each and every one of you. You have contributed to my life in a way that I could never have imagined. And you make life so full. And I've learned a lot about friendship and what it means to be a good friend and what it means to be there for people and show up. Because my friend Daniel was that to a lot of people, and this year I feel the burden of him not being here, and just knowing that I want to support each and every one of you and be there with you and make the most of this time. And I think that all we can do is really be with each other the time we have, and like care for each other and love each other. And my parents are here, my whole family, my mom and my dad. And thank you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm going to start setting up for my next scene while I talk to you guys. Oh, man. You know, when I watched as a freshman, what's up? I had no idea what the fuck I was gonna do. No idea whatsoever. And in December, I still didn't know. We were here. I tested that. I had no idea. I finished my first run with Michael K in December, and I thought that was shit. There was a lot of stuff in there. So, I think this is always be in process. And, yeah. I think that's all I want to say for right now. Love all you guys. Let's keep going. Dear Mom, I'm writing this from Ayers Rock, or Uluru, as it is now called. We've been driving for 3 days. I'm standing beneath a carpet of stars, and it is more beautiful than I could have ever imagined this southern sky. I wanted to tell you that I've met someone. Her name is Gabrielle. And although I have only known her a very short time,
I feel as though she is someone who I could love, and who might be able to love me in return. I'm sorry we parted on such bad terms, but isn't it funny how over the years we have found a way of not talking about the difficult things? There has been so much I have wanted to know, and so much you have been unable to tell me. My father remains a mystery to me, as in many ways you do. But I just wanted to tell you, Mom, that I am happy. It's not Gabriel.
I don't want you to go up there tonight.
What?
Won't climb it.
Gabriel, I've come a long way to do this.
I don't care how far you've come.
This is something I have to do.
Why?
Because he went up there. Because he climbed that rock and he never came back.
Let the dead take care of the dead.
You're making me choose?
Yes.
Then I choose him. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just, why I don't do this. This is the story of the Trojan War and two great fighters, Achilles. Achilles dashed towards the sea, heart racing, rushing on, and Hector was the first to see him coming, surging over the plain, blazing like a star. And I don't have to tell you, do I? The tide has turned. But there stood Hector, shackled fast by his deadly fate. No more running from you in fear, Achilles. Now my spirit stirs me to meet you face to face. Now kill or be killed. And on that resolve, Hector swooped now, swinging his wooden sword, and Achilles charged too, pulsing with rage, barbaric, and fire flared from the sharp point of Achilles' spear. Now one spot lay exposed, where the collarbones lift the neck bone off the shoulders, the open throat, where the end of life comes quickest. There. As Hector charged in fury, brilliant Achilles drove his spear, and the point went stabbing clean through the tender neck. Achilles crashed to the dust. Godlike, Achilles gloried over him. Hector! The dogs and the birds will maul you, shame your corpse, while Achaeans bury my dear friend in glory. Struggling for breath, Hector, his helmet flashing, said, I beg you, by your life, your bear, give my body to friends to carry home again. Beg no more, you fawning dog! Would to God my rage, my fury would drive me now to hack away your flesh and eat you raw. Such agonies you have caused me. I know you well. I see my fate before me. Iron inside your chest, that heart of yours. But now beware, or my death will draw God's wrath upon your head. Death cut him short. The end closed in around him. Flying free of his limbs, his soul went ringing down to the house of death. It's just, I mean, if you'd seen it, the waste. It's just like, yeah, there was that one time, yes, it was a terrible hot day during the conquest of Sumer. I'm sorry, it was the conquest of Sargon. The Peloponnesian War. The War of Alexander the Great. The Punic War. Gallic War. Caesar's invasion of Britain. Great Jewish Revolt. Yellow Turban Rebellion. War against the Moors in North Africa. Roman-Persian War. Fall of Rome. Byzantine-Arab War. Bulgarian siege of Constantinople. Zand Rebellion in southern Iraq. Croatian-Bulgarian War, Viking Civil War, Norman invasion of England, First Crusade, Second Crusade, Third Crusade, Fourth Crusade, Children's Crusade, Fifth, Sixth, Seventh, Eighth, Ninth Crusade, Mongol invasion of China, Mongol invasion of Russia, Mongol invasion of Afghanistan, Mongol invasion of Vietnam, the 100 Years' War, Chinese domination of Vietnam, the Polish-Lithuanian Teutonic War, Hunger War, fall of Constantinople, War of the Roses, War of the Priests, Muscovite-Lithuanian War, the Spanish conquest of Mexico, the Mongol conquest of India, War of the Two Brothers, the Spanish conquest of Peru, 30 Years' War, Pequot War, 30 Years' War, Pequot War, First, Second, and Third English Civil Wars, Cromwell's conquest of Ireland, Cromwell's conquest of Scotland, the 335 Years' War, French and Indian Wars, Second Cherokee Wars, American Revolution, French Revolution, Haitian Revolution, Napoleonic Wars, the Bolivian War of Independence, Argentine War of Independence, Venezuelan War of Independence, Mexican War of Independence, War of 1812, Colombian, Chilean, Peruvian, and Ecuadorian Wars of Independence, Lower Canada Rebellion, Upper Canada Rebellion, Second Seminole War, Mormon War, Pastry War, Honey War, First Anglo-Afghan War, First Opium War, Crimean Wars, the Land Wars, American Civil War, Sioux Wars, Spanish-American War, Mexican Revolution, World War I, Russian Revolution, Third Anglo-Afghan War, Irish War of Independence, Irish War of Independence, Irish War of Independence, Afghan Civil War, Japanese invasion of Manchuria, Saudi-Yemenite War, Second Spanish Civil War, World War II, Palestine Civil War, Arab-Israeli War, Cold War, Korean War, Cuban Revolution, Tibetan Rebellion, Vietnam, Bay of Pigs, Sand War, Six-Day War, Laos, Cambodia, the Troubles, Prague Spring, Nicaraguan Revolution, Salvadoran Civil War, Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Contra War in Nicaragua, Second Sudanese Civil War, Iran-Iraq War, Falklands War, Israeli invasion of Lebanon, U.S. invasion of Grenada, U.S. invasion of Panama, First Intifada, Rwandan Civil War, Afghan Civil War, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Chechnya, Afghanistan, Kosovo, Iraq, Chechnya, Afghanistan, Rwanda, Darfur, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Congo, Gaza, Somalia, Georgia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Libya, Syria, Mali, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Israel, Gaza, Iraq, War on ISIL, Yemen, Tunisia, India, Pakistan, Mozambique, Iran. So you see,
Gabriel, please come down. Please, look, it's snowing. It's so beautiful. Gabriel, it's so beautiful.
Are you in doubt? Dear soon-to-be former members of Tule Lake internment camp, only 2 more weeks until each and every one of you will have made the choice of seeking your future happiness here in America, where you have lived most of your lives, or elsewhere, in a distant land which will seem strange to many of you. My brother and I would like to see you make the former choice. It was a wonderful feeling to be able to live in the outside world as an individual, rather than as a member of a minority race to be looked down upon because of our ancestry. We have enjoyed many opportunities to make friends with white folks, Hakujin, who are sincerely interested in our problems and have gone far out of their way to help both first-generation immigrants, Issei, and second-generation immigrants, Nisei, find suitable jobs and living accommodations. But to celebrate the New Year's holiday, a mixed group of 60 Issei, Nisei, and Hakujin enjoyed a delicious Japanese dinner cooked by Issei, who has lived here in Philadelphia for more than 20 years. The party itself was initiated by an interested group of Quaker friends and held in the Quaker meeting house. It would have amused anyone to watch our Hakujin friends struggle with chopsticks and eventually resort to knives and forks to satisfy their appetites. We urge you to leave behind the confines of Tule Lake and travel east, where you will find hospitality from the Hakujin as well as those of us who are already here. Come out and enjoy the freedoms for which nations have fought, and which can be yours for the asking.